The Trump administration has declassified all of the hidden annex information in the famed Durham Report. Turns out all the good stuff we were looking for was classified on purpose. Also, FBI burn bags were loaded with Hillary Clinton related documents. She may have gotten away with destroying her emails, but this paper trail of evidence is alive and breathing. I'm going to go through this and much, much more. Thank you guys so much for liking and sharing these videos. Let's jump right into the news. The FBI recovered thousands of documents just before they were scheduled to be burned. These documents include evidence that directly links Hillary Clinton as the head of the Russia-Trump hoax, something we knew but needed a paper trail of evidence in order to bring indictments, grand jury, and ultimately arrest. Now, I imagine with what I will share today, she is privately meeting with a team of lawyers as well as a reputation damage control specialist. Now, John Solomon at Just the News has shared an email that was discovered between Leonardo Bernard and others. He says, this is the smoking gun evidence inside Durham Annex. If it is authenticated by further investigation, it means liberal megadonor George Soros's team knew the whole Clinton plan for Russiagate hoax 4 days before the FBI opened up a probe. And so did Obama, Brennan, and Comey. Let me read this to you. HRC, Hillary Rodham Clinton, approved Julia's idea about Trump and Russian hackers hampering U.S. elections. That should distract people from her own missing email, especially if the affair goes to the Olympic level. The point is making the Russia play a U.S. domestic issue. Say something like a critical infrastructure threat for the election to feel menace, since both POTUS and Vice POTUS have acknowledged the fact IC would speed up searching for evidence that is regrettably still unavailable. However, there seems to be signs, GRU penetration. They appeared hardly skilled, incompetent, bumbling idiots at SMB called them. In absence of direct evidence, CrowdStrike and Threat Connect will supply the media, and GRU will hopefully carry only to give more facts. So basically, Hillary Clinton approved this, and they knew that by dropping this out into the ether, that the mainstream media would immediately pick up on it and roll with this. Now, here's another email from Leonardo Bernard that goes deeper into this situation. This is from Clandestine. These Durham Annex files are disturbing. The Clinton campaign, in coordination with the Obama administration, the media, and the intelligence community, wittingly coordinated to demonize Trump and Putin and blame them for the DNC hack. They were all in on it. And it says right here in this red box, Julie says it will be a long-term affair to demonize Putin and Trump. Now it is good for a post-convention bounce, meaning they needed to pick up excitement for this after the convention. Later, the FBI will put more oil into the fire. Outcome is far from clear, as Americans are more keen on their own woes, and Hillary is hardly good looking as far as credibility is concerned. Anyway, things are ghastly for U.S.-Russian relations. So basically, they were going to take a distracted American public and just feed them lie after lie after lie, because they know that America has been paranoid about Putin and Russia for many, many years. Now, I had never heard of this Leonardo Bernardo. Please let me know in the comments. Is this name new to you, or was it just me? Now, he's been unmasked as a main co-conspirator with Hillary Clinton. And wouldn't you know it, where is this guy working now? He's working for George Soros. That's right. Meet Leonardo Bernardo. Leonardo has just been exposed as part of a treasonous plot to frame civilian Donald Trump and later POTUS Trump. Guess where you can find Leonardo now? He's the senior vice president of George Soros' Open Society Foundation. Shocker, a tangled web. So this guy has gone under the radar for years. Nobody knew that he existed. And where was he hiding after helping Hillary Clinton defame Donald Trump, trick a lot of us, and nearly destroy the country? He's been working for George Soros, the #1 underminer of the United States of America. Well, Glenn Beck at The Blaze was fortunate to have DNI Tulsi Gabbard on, and she addressed how some of the people involved with the Hillary Obama hoax are just now coming to light. They're just now being unmasked in their participation in tricking the American public. And she said, sadly, we're learning that some of these people still work for the government. Let me show you this because I was pretty shocked by it.
How many people are you surrounded by that are still part of that old system?
It's a good question. As we're finding these documents, going through them, declassifying and releasing them, we are learning more about who is actually directly involved and implicated in this. We're learning more about who may have been in the room and who was loudly protesting against it, recognizing how wrong it was. We have whistleblowers coming forward with their own documentation of their protests and their unwillingness to go along with this. So yes, there are people who are still working within the intelligence community who had a hand in this. As we are identifying them, it will give us the opportunity to make sure that they and others like them who, again, are so willing to weaponize intelligence to subvert the will of the American people can no longer work in the intelligence community.
Pretty crazy, right? So some of these people still work for the government. They're just now finding out who they are. And she goes on to continue this discussion. Well, Glenn Beck and his team, they did some research, and a lot of these people, they're starting to panic. And they should panic. They need to lawyer up because at this point, they're going to be investigated. They're going to be called in to testify. It's about to get really ugly, and I'm here for it. Like, pop the popcorn, get me a Diet Coke. I am all in on these people being humiliated and then arrested if possible. But Glenn Beck points out to her that some of the biggest names connected to this are now going on a rampage, deleting everything they can. Check this out.
John Kerry has made his account private. Peter Strzok deleted his entire X history. Are you sensing they feel the walls are closing in?
In my view, that's the only way that I can read this situation. Those who are truly innocent would not be taking those kinds of actions. And once again, this is why it's so important to declassify this information, to get the truth out, because it's something that for anyone who is mildly objective is irrefutable and undeniable, and can be used and is currently being reviewed by the Department of Justice to bring about accountability for those involved.
Okay, so it's what we all want. We want the Department of Justice to take this serious. We want them to be involved. Now, with hindsight, we can more perfectly see how Hillary Clinton and others were constantly crafting a narrative they knew the mainstream media would pick up and run with on their behalf. Here's an example. So Clandestine said, here's a flashback. Hillary was already trying to establish the narrative that Russia was helping Trump by hacking the DNC, knowing full well they were completely full of crap and the entire thing was fabricated. They wittingly deceived and lied to the American people for their own malevolent agenda. And to retain their power, they wittingly brainwashed the entire planet, all to cover up their own criminality. Obama, Hillary, Soros, intelligence heads, and cohorts in the media, and anyone else who would help in this treasonous plot should all be in chains if not worse, if this country will never heal until there is justice. Now, you can see from these old Twitter posts, Hillary Clinton, it should concern every American that Russia is willing to engage in such hostile acts in order to help Donald Trump become president. She later wrote, computer scientists have apparently uncovered a covert server linking the Trump organization to a Russian-based bank. And then more and more details, right? So they were just absolutely dripping information out on the American public every single day. They just wanted people absolutely drenched in this material. I mean, you had so many Republican members of Congress that were buying into this. I mean, Lindsey Graham, who I dislike passionately, even came out earlier this week and said, hey, listen, I worked with the information I had at the time, and I didn't know that this was a lie. Now we do, and now we need to take action. Now, I'm going to show you just some of the other stuff that Hillary Clinton was putting out so that you can see exactly the kind of crap that she was pushing on the American people. Listen to this.
I think that there is a lot to investigate, and I'm personally very grateful that somebody of the stature of Robert Mueller would be there conducting this investigation. He's a totally straight arrow guy. I mean, if it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. And I really believe that he will be honest and transparent and tell us whatever it is he finds. But as I say in the book, and I try to explain what bothers me, there's just too many connections to be called just coincidences. There just are. And some of it is financial entanglements, and some of it is hunting for, negative information about me, and some of it is calling, people and trying to hide the connections and the meetings and the calls and all of that. All of that has gone on. Now, there's a lot of smoke, and whether or not there's fire, we need to figure it out. But here is what's important. Put the investigation into Trump, his associates, and everybody else to one side. There is no denying that the Russians interfered in the election. Right. Whether or not.
My gosh, she is such a gifted liar. Like, Obama is a gifted speaker. She is a gifted liar. There's smoke there. Yeah, from you.
They had willing or unwitting help from the Trump team. They interfered, and they did so to help him and hurt me. And they did so to destabilize our democracy, and they have not stopped.
What's not clear from your book is whether you think that the Trump campaign was colluding in this.
We don't know the answer to that. That is part of what is being explored. There are some serious questions, because what happened when the emails of my campaign manager, John Podesta, were stolen by the Russian intelligence services. Then they were conveyed to WikiLeaks, which is basically now a mouthpiece for Russia authoritarianism. And then they were released on the very same day that the Hollywood Access tape came out showing Trump, bragging about sexual assault. Then they were what we call weaponized, so that they were turned into phony news stories. They were turned into Facebook posts, and then they were targeted at specific voters. The question is, where did the Russians get that kind of targeting information? And, that is one of the unanswered questions that investigators in Congress and the special counsel are looking into.
The Russian government has engaged in espionage against Americans. They have hacked American websites, American accounts of private people, of institutions. Then they have given that information to WikiLeaks for the purpose of putting it on the internet. This has come from the highest levels of the Russian government, clearly from Putin himself, in an effort, as 17 of our intelligence agencies have confirmed, to influence our election.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Remember how all 17 said the 2020 election wasn't rigged? Isn't it interesting that all of them said that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation? So Russia is the boogeyman that they always point to. And then it turns out it wasn't all 17 for the Trump-Russia hoax. It wasn't all 17 for the 2020 election that was stolen. And it wasn't all of them for all of the Hunter Biden stuff either. So these people just lie and lie and lie. I cannot believe that their voters are so stupid that they keep buying into these stories.
I actually think the most important question of this evening, Chris, is finally, will Donald Trump admit and condemn that the Russians are doing this, and make it clear that he will not have the help of Putin in this election, that he rejects Russian espionage against Americans, which he actually encouraged in the past. Those are the questions we need answered. We've never had anything like this happen in any of our elections before.
So she literally made up a story and then during a debate on live TV tries to get Donald Trump to commit to condemn the very story that she is lying about.
I mean, if you're going to let Russia get away with what they did and are still doing, according to Christopher Wray, the current FBI director who said that last week, they're in our election systems. We're worried about 2020, he said. So, hey, let's have a great power contest and let's get the Chinese in on the side of somebody else. Why are, other Americans basically believing Putin? Why did Trump believe Putin more than our 11 intelligence agencies?
I don't know. Do you have a working theory?
I do have a working theory. And why is Donald Trump so enamored of Putin? Well, part of it is he's a wannabe dictator. He has told us that repeatedly. He even said the other day, let's basically get out of NATO and, encourage Putin to do what he wants to do. How absurd a statement that is cannot even be, measured because you are essentially giving a green light to a murderous, brutal dictator.
I think that there is a
Okay, so just lie after lie after lie. And unfortunately, millions and millions of Democrats still believe this lie. I've met people in the last 30 days that still believe Trump is a Putin puppet and a Russian asset. It's absolutely insane. All right, now we're learning two big things. Number one, no one spoke up. And number two, who would they speak up to if they had the courage? Because you had John Brennan and the head of the FBI, James Comey, they were running the investigations. They were putting tons of pressure on people's family, on their career. Yet whistleblowers are now saying that their lives were threatened, and that's why they didn't come forward. So whistleblowers are now coming forward as the water begins to boil. This is what Tulsi Gabbard said. Whistleblowers reveal how they were threatened by a supervisor to go along with the Obama-directed Russia hoax intelligence. Even though they knew it was not credible or accurate, the whistleblowers refused. Remember, I showed you last night, the retired colonel, John Mills, said that the NSA called him and said, you will go along with this story. She continues, yesterday we released the whistleblower's first-hand account of what happened in the crafting of the January 17 ICA. Their year-long efforts to expose the egregious manipulation and manufacturing of intelligence carried out at the highest levels of government, and the IC and how they were repeatedly ignored. Thank you to this courageous whistleblower and others who are coming forward now, putting their own well-being on the line to defend our democratic republic, ensure the American people know the truth, and hold those responsible accountable. You can go on to the ODNI website and read the whistleblower's words. I believe more and more are going to be coming forward. Now, Mike Benz, a guest who's been on the show many times, he points out how they accomplished this with past CIA, FBI, and NSA agents. Let me show you this because it's really, really fascinating. So Mike Benz says they cook the BS intelligence. By threatening to cook any intelligence officer officers who don't go along with the BS. So exclusive Clapper crew threatened whistleblower who refused to sign off on fabricated intel assessment. That this supervisor told him, there is reporting you are not allowed to see, adding that if you saw it, you would agree. So I need you to sign off that this is true, but it's so egregious, I can't show it to you. I just need you to trust me. The analyst explained that he would need to review any report myself in order to consider it. You need to trust me on this, Clapper's crony countered, stating the analyst he would need to demonstrate his ability to outgrow his refusal to sign off on assessments he did not share in order to be recommended for a promotion. So not only could you lose your job, but you might never get a promotion within the CIA ever again. The analyst remained firm, according to the notes, which led his exacerbated superior to reply, "I need you to say you agree with these judgments so that DIA will go along with them." That's the military side. The DIA is the Department of Defense, Defense Intelligence Agency. And the notes explain that ODNI sought to bring DIA on board as an additional IC agency, signing the 2017 ICA. Necessity of me proving my corporate IC officer bona fide by doing what it took to bring DIA on board. The analyst refused to alter his assessment, and the DIA did not join the CIA, FBI, or NSA in signing off on the final non-compartmented version of the ICA. So they were pressuring these guys so that they could get everyone, the DOD, the Pentagon, the DIA, they wanted everybody signing off on this lie. Now, Trump is calling again for Pam Bondi, for the FBI to do their job, saying we must bring people to account or we're not going to survive as a country. So pretty crazy. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about this? I tried to be as thorough and detailed as I could in about 20 minutes. I want to be respectful of your time. I'm talking to a lot of people. They're saying, I don't think anything's going to happen. I do. Look at the urgency with President Trump. Look at the urgency with Tulsi Gabbard. Look at what you have to read between the lines on what she says is happening behind the scenes. I believe that we are going to get something. Now, I'm not trying to get anybody's hopes up, but I am optimistic and I am realistic. I truly believe that they are going to do something. And if you didn't see the video that I put out from earlier today with Colonel Tony Schaefer, I'm going to put it here or here, one of these spots. But basically, Trump's lawyers are now saying they have different ways of forcing Obama to come in and to narc on himself as well as others. Also, they're going to pull in 5 of these people, 2 women and 3 men, and they're going to pit them against them and likely tell them the first one that rats out the group and comes with evidence, you will get immunity, and you're going to start seeing everybody turn on each other. I'm going to put that video so that you can go check it out. All right. I love you guys. Thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos. I appreciate that you allow me to be your source of news and truth. Again, do not leave YouTube without looking at this video right here from earlier today. I love you. Stay amazing, and I'll see you on the next video.